For generations, the UK has beckoned bright minds from across the globe, promising a world-class education and a chance at a brighter future. But behind this alluring facade lies a harsh reality: the steep financial burden imposed by the UK's visa regulations. The dream of studying in the UK is becoming increasingly out of reach for many, transforming what should be a gateway to opportunity into an insurmountable financial hurdle. This essay delves into the controversial issue of UK visa fees, exposing the human cost of this complex and often unforgiving system. We will hear first-hand accounts from students and families grappling with the exorbitant costs, their hopes and aspirations hanging in the balance. This is a story of dreams deferred, of sacrifices made, and of a system in desperate need of reform. Imagine this. You're a brilliant student from a humble background, dreaming of pursuing your passion at a top UK university. The excitement is palpable as you envision yourself walking through the historic halls, engaging in stimulating discussions, and immersing yourself in a new culture. You've worked tirelessly, excelled in your studies, and finally received that coveted acceptance letter. The sense of accomplishment is overwhelming, and you can almost taste the success that lies ahead. But your joy is short-lived. The reality of the UK student visa application process hits you like a ton of bricks. Suddenly the dream seems more distant as you grapple with the complexities of the visa requirements. It's not just about proving your academic merit or language proficiency. It's about navigating a financial maze that can make or break your dreams. The paperwork is daunting, and the financial requirements are even more so. The numbers speak for themselves. The cost of a Tier 4 student visa alone can range from £363 to £490, depending on your country of origin. This is just the beginning of the financial burden. Add to that the immigration health surcharge, a mandatory fee for accessing the National Health Service, which currently stands at £624 per year of your visa. This fee ensures that you have access to healthcare, but it adds a significant amount to your overall expenses. And let's not forget the cost of living in the UK, notorious for its high rents, transportation costs, and daily expenses. The financial strain doesn't end with the visa and health surcharge. It extends to everyday living. As a student, you'll need to budget carefully to make ends meet. Rent in cities like London can be exorbitant, often consuming a large portion of your monthly allowance. Public transportation, while efficient, is another significant expense. Many students find themselves taking on part-time jobs to cover their expenses, which can be a double-edged sword. While it provides much-needed income, it also takes time away from studies and can add to the stress. Scholarships and financial aid can provide some relief, but they are highly competitive and not always sufficient to cover all costs. It's a constant balancing act, trying to manage finances while keeping up with academic demands. Despite these challenges, the dream of studying in the UK remains a powerful motivator. The opportunity to receive a world-class education, experience a new culture, and build a global network is worth the struggle for many. In the end, the financial strain is a significant hurdle. But for those who persevere, the rewards can be life-changing. The journey is tough, but the destination makes it all worthwhile.
My name is Alia, and I come from India. Ever since I was a child, I had a dream to become a doctor and help those in need. I always dreamed of studying medicine in the UK. The UK has some of the best medical schools in the world, and I wanted to be a part of that. I was so happy when I got a scholarship that covered my tuition fees. It felt like all my hard work had finally paid off and my dream was within reach. But, the visa costs and the high cost of living in the UK were just too much. The scholarship only covered my tuition, not the living expenses, which were overwhelming. My family had to sell our home, the place where we made so many memories, just to gather enough money. Use up all our savings, every last penny we had saved over the years for emergencies, and even take on loans that would take years, maybe decades to pay off. It was heartbreaking, but they did it for me. They believed in my dream as much as I did, and they were willing to sacrifice everything for it.
I'm Kwame from Ghana. My story is not very different from Alia's. My family, we don't have much, but They believed in me. They always told me that education was the key to a better future. They thought a UK degree would change my life. It was a beacon of hope for all of us, a chance to break free from the cycle of poverty. They gave me everything they had to support my education dreams. Every bit of money they could spare went towards my education fund. But well, the financial burden was just too heavy. The costs kept piling up and it became impossible to manage. I had to defer my acceptance. It was a tough decision, but I had no other choice. My dreams are on hold now, maybe indefinitely. It's hard to stay hopeful when everything seems so uncertain.
These are just two of countless stories. Stories of young people with big dreams and even bigger obstacles. That illustrate the human cost of the UK's visa regulations. Regulations that make it incredibly difficult for international students to pursue their dreams. Behind the cold statistics are real people, families making unimaginable sacrifices, giving up everything for a chance at a better future. Their hopes and aspirations hanging by a thread. These stories remind us of the resilience and determination of the human spirit and the lengths to which people will go for their dreams. Section 4. Navigating the Labyrinth. A step-by-step breakdown of visa costs. Understanding the financial implications of applying for a UK student visa is crucial for prospective students. This section aims to demystify the various costs involved, providing a clear roadmap for applicants. The UK student visa application process is a labyrinthine journey, fraught with complex requirements and hidden costs. Many students find themselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of paperwork and the intricate details they must navigate. From the initial application to the final approval, each step comes with its own set of financial challenges. Let's break down the financial hurdles applicants face at every step. Understanding these costs in advance can help students and their families better prepare and avoid unexpected financial strain. The first hurdle is the visa application fee itself, which varies depending on the applicant's nationality. This fee is a mandatory payment that must be made at the time of application. For some nationalities, the fee can be quite substantial, adding an immediate financial burden. This non-refundable fee is just the tip of the iceberg. Beyond this initial payment, there are numerous other costs that can quickly add up, making the overall expense much higher than initially anticipated. Next comes the immigration health surcharge, a mandatory fee that grants access to the NHS. This surcharge is calculated based on the length of the student's stay in the UK and must be paid up front. While it provides essential healthcare coverage, the cost can be significant, especially for longer courses of study. This fee has been steadily increasing over the years, adding a significant financial burden on students. The rising cost of the immigration health surcharge has been a point of contention, with many arguing that it disproportionately affects international students. Applicants must provide evidence of sufficient funds to cover their tuition fees and living expenses for the duration of their studies. This requirement is designed to ensure that students can support themselves without needing to rely on public funds. This requirement often translates into hefty bank statements, adding another layer of stress, especially for students from low-income backgrounds. Gathering the necessary financial documentation can be a daunting task, and the pressure to demonstrate sufficient funds can be overwhelming. Proving English language proficiency is another mandatory requirement, often involving expensive standardized tests like IELTS or TOEFL. These tests not only require a financial investment, but also significant time and effort to prepare for. Depending on their country of origin, applicants may also incur additional costs for services provided by visa application centres, such as document translation or courier fees. These services are often necessary to ensure that all required documents are correctly submitted and processed. These are just some of the direct costs associated with the UK student visa application process. Each of these expenses can add up quickly, creating a significant financial burden for applicants. The indirect costs, such as lost earning potential for students who must delay their studies due to financial constraints, can be even more substantial. Many students find themselves needing to work part-time jobs to make ends meet, which can impact their academic performance and overall experience. To mitigate these costs, students are encouraged to explore financial aid options such as scholarships, grants, and student loans. These resources can provide much-needed financial relief and make the dream of studying in the UK more attainable. Despite the financial challenges, many students successfully navigate the visa application process and achieve their goal of studying in the UK. With careful planning and a clear understanding of the costs involved, prospective students can better prepare for this important journey. Ultimately, the investment in a UK education can be incredibly rewarding, offering students a world-class education and the opportunity to experience life in a vibrant, multicultural environment. By understanding and planning for the costs involved, students can focus on making the most of their time in the UK.
Many students report experiencing anxiety, sleeplessness, and even depression as they navigate the visa process. The emotional strain affects their academic performance, their relationships with loved ones, and their overall well-being. Families, too, are deeply impacted, often making significant sacrifices and going into debt to support their children's dreams. The emotional burden can be as heavy as the financial one, casting a long shadow over the entire experience. Narrator. Media. Students staring out of a window with a worried expression, family looking somber at a dinner table, shadows over a student's face. Section 5. The emotional toll, anxiety, uncertainty and dreams on hold. The financial burden of the UK student visa process extends far beyond monetary concerns. It takes a heavy emotional toll on students and their families. The pressure to secure funding, the constant fear of visa rejection and the uncertainty surrounding their future can be overwhelming.